right, so Robbie Kwankwaso, Peter Obi, Senator Seriake Dixon, who is the national leader of the NDC, Nigeria Democratic Congress. A lot of Congress in the names of the party. NDC, ADC, APC, maybe only PDP, but there's a D or C somewhere. But let's get to the conversation. My first guest is Senator Victor Umeh. He represents the people of Anambra Central. He's a member of the NDC. He was a former ABGA chairman. He moved from there to the Labour Party, to the ADC, and now to the NDC. Distinguished, I just had to chronicle your journey. It's been quick. This is one of the fastest defections I've seen in the history of Nigerian politics. But that's an aside. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jeffrey. You came short of describing me as a political nomad as well. Moving from here to here. So I'm a political nomad. But all this is happening for a reason. You know, like I said the other time, when you put smoke in the hole where the rabbit is residing, the rabbit will hit somewhere he has prepared for escape and run away. So when the place you are becomes choking, you have to find an exit route. So the movements are not undemocratic. There are circumstances that have warranted such movements, and it's good for our democracy. When you're no longer comfortable where you are, you have to shift.
Let's talk about that. I will come back to the movement in a moment, because you went one way, Senator Abaribe went the other way. You went with Peter Obi to the NDC. Senator Abaribe, I think, went to the Labour Party, but not now. Let's talk about what played out at that national convention yesterday, which is perhaps the most profound decision being made, which was not made in the ADC. Perhaps is the reason, I don't know, the reason why persons like Peter Obi had to leave, besides maybe every other reason, is that the party has now zoned the presidential ticket to the south. That is not even the kicker. The bigger kicker is that it has zoned it to the south for one term. How practicable is that? The office of the president is very enticing. It's perhaps arguably one of the things that led to the undoing of Jonathan, based on, quote unquote, the agreement they had about term.
Well, I think you are very right in describing it as very profound. So the word you use in describing the decision made by NDC to zone the presidency to the southern part of Nigeria explains it all. If something is profound, it means that it is good. One is that NDC was able to rise to the occasion by doing the needful. In politics, you must do what will make you succeed. You must be driven by a sense of balance, a sense of equity, something that will make people come to you. Like you pointed out, ADC was not able to do zoning, and zoning was a problem that cost the PDP the election in 2023. So it is surprising that ADC, with all the efforts we made and the strength it amassed, decided to make the same mistake again. NDC has risen to the occasion, and knowing that there is no way you can come and challenge the southern Nigeria in this election, where they are entitled to 2 terms in office, 8 years, because Buhari did 8 years in the last dispensation. When he shifted to the turn of the south, it became necessary that any right-thinking person should be able to take candidates from the southern part of Nigeria. That was the mistake that APC avoided, because at the 2023 convention, there were elements in the APC that were insisting that anybody from the north can run again and succeed Buhari. That was why some of them contested at the convention to become the presidential candidate of the APC. But there were some right-thinking people like Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who insisted, along with some people, that they should go south for the sake of equity and the need to preserve the national unity. Those reasons prevailed, and that's how Tinubu became the candidate and went ahead to become the president. Now, the South has 4 years unfinished of the 8-year term they're entitled to. And Mr. Peter Obi and other people who are minded by the need to preserve the balance went for 4 years to complete the tenure of the South that will make it 8 years. So Mr. Obi, for example, started long time to say that he will spend only 4 years and give way. He knows that he cannot do a second term because Tinubu is already doing 4 years for the South. So that sense of reason prevailed in the NDC. The NDC decided to zone the presidency to the South for the remaining 4 years of the 8-year term due to the southern Nigeria before power gets back to the South. So if you looked at the motion that was moved yesterday, the motion was that this presidency is zoned to the South for 4 years. And in 2031, when the South would have completed the 4 years of the 8 years due to the South, automatically the presidency should revert to the North. That is the way to preserve national unity. You cannot pretend that people are very sensitive to these things, and that's what happened yesterday. So NDC was strategic enough to reason in that direction. And when the motion was moved, all the delegates to the convention applauded it and voted overwhelmingly with yes. And those against were zero. There were no people
Senator,
against
Senator,
that.
let me comment. I think you've explained yourself well. Now, the point I'm making about this is how practical it is. So let's just assume that Peter Obi will be the candidate of the NDC. Let's just assume, because of the way things stand right now. Does the party trust him to be able to abide by this agreement if peradventure wins tomorrow? Because history has shown since 1999 that even President Obasanjo was even accused of trying to secure a third term. He has denied that. Goodluck Jonathan, as you know, he was accused of failing on the agreement because he was supposed to complete the term of Yaradua and then run for a one term and then give power back to the North, as it were. And we've seen Muhammadu Buhari, God rest his soul, also did a term. President Bola Tinubu is also running for a second term. So is it really, does the party trust Peter Obi if he wins to stand or abide by this agreement? Is it a written agreement, verbal agreement? What kind of agreement is this?
Well, it is part of the promise of a new Nigeria. What we are doing with NDC and with Mr. Peter Obi you have referred to is something that will be novel, something that has not happened in Nigeria before, where people do not want to quit office. Once you give them the baton, they run away with the baton unless you force them out. Mr. Obi was very conscious of the need to preserve national unity. And he recognizes that for him to succeed, he must not eat into the tenure of the North. So he confined himself ab initio to the 4 years available to southern Nigeria. As to whether people are honorable or not, it's only a character like Mr. Peter Obi who can do that, because he has always told you what he can do. And for those who are doubting him, I can tell you I have known Peter Obi for, in fact, I have been his longest political associate since 2001. He started his politics with me, and I can tell you that once he has said it, that is the way it's going to be. If he goes into office, assuming Nigerians vote for him and he wins, Peter Obi will leave after 4 years. In fact, in my discussions with him, he has already started making his plans on how to deliver his promises to Nigerians within 4 years. Don't forget that somebody like a nobleman like Nelson Mandela did only 4 years in South Africa, and he left. So if Peter Obi leaves after 4 years, he will not be the first person. Mandela did it, and he left. even when the ovation was still very high for him. So I think it's for us to begin to realize our makeup in this country, knowing that Nigeria is a very diverse country where you must respect the rights and interests of other people. Yes, the issue of 4 years is very critical, that anybody who wants to preserve national unity from the South cannot think about staying beyond 4 years, because Tinubu would have done 4 years by 2027. And in order to preserve national unity, that 4 years will be the last chance for the South in this very dispensation. For those who do not pay attention to this and ignore it, they will see when we begin the campaigns that they will not stand. They cannot stand.
All right, distinguished. My apologies.
You must be fair to others.
Let's talk about what is practical. Let's point out 3 of Nigeria's problems. Let me give you 3 problems. Nigeria has been having issues around insecurity since the Goodluck Jonathan. He's been there for a long time, but you know, it took another shape altogether, maybe under Goodluck Jonathan. Muhammadu Buhari could not resolve it, but President Tinubu has not been able to solve the insecurity problems. The economy is still, you know, where it is. Literally, people are suffering and struggling. Hardship is very high, although the macroeconomic data looks good, but trickling down is a major problem. Power has been almost unresolvable, even since the era of the PDP as government. So what can you really do in 4 years?
A lot can be done in 4 years. One is to reposition the country and lay a foundation on how we shall coexist and live together as a people, having faith in the country as one indivisible country. If a leader comes and takes Nigeria as his entire constituency and begins to take actions that people will trust him with, and begin to take everybody as a brother or as a sister, making sure that what is available goes round to everybody, you change the national psyche in the way people perceive their leaders. A leader that has come to unite everybody will be a leader that will achieve much. Within 4 years, even 2 years will be enough for you to put the party back on track. If you come into office and you begin to do things that will make everybody have a sense of belonging as a Nigerian, as somebody who can be fair to all, you will see that turning the country together will be a major achievement in the first 1 year. Look at Rwanda, where Paul Kagame is doing wonders. He came into that country very divided between the Hutsis and Tutsis. They were massacred, genocide, and everything. And when he came in, he banned anybody saying that I'm a Tutsi, or I'm a Hutsi, I'm a tribal person. You must say I'm a Rwandan. You can't say you belong to any of these tribes. And he was able to unite Rwandan people. That's why the country is ascending now, doing very well. I was in Kigali, and I was busy trying to ask a girl in the hotel reception, are you a Tutsi? She didn't reply me. I said, are you a Hutu? She didn't reply me. Then her colleague said, we are Rwandans. That is the way to build national unity. So in Nigeria today, somebody who can come out and with the blast of the whistle say, you cannot say, I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba, I'm Hausa, I'm Shekiri, I'm this and that, I'm 200 and something ethnic nationalities in Nigeria.
As though you look
for you to govern, you need to have these 250 ethnic nationalities to trust you, that you have come to provide leadership to everybody, not for a section of the people. So if somebody
Senator,
comes to that mindset, they will be able to deliver immediately, yes.
You've walked into literally almost like, look, you saw my notes. Now, Peter Obi, when people look at him from public perception that I've analyzed, they seem to say when it comes to prudential management of resources, he seems to be high up there. But Nigeria is a very complex state, complex country, a very divided country. And that complexity and that division is accentuated during election season. We see how we vote, we see how we see. So they are now saying, look, if he couldn't stay and build the Labour Party, If you couldn't stay and fight internal party politics and the internal democracy of the ADC, now he's gone to the NDC, where it looks like it's a free meal, it's a free pass for him. How can he run a complex country like Nigeria?
Well,
if he wins,
the strength of Mr. Obi, I'm coming. The strength of Mr. Obi is in his frugal attitude, physical discipline. He's somebody who is not wasteful. I've lasted with him for 21 years in politics, and my relationship with Obi has never been determined by money, what he can give you. Because he will tell you, I'll use money, public money, for public good. It's not by dishing out money, sharing money to people that you become popular and then you deliver nothing when you get into office. One thing I can assure you is that Peter said he will not be part of a transactional politics where the amount of money you share to people will determine their support for you. Because if he spends his own money, he has money. Peter Obi is very wealthy, mind you. But he has said that he cannot be driven into transactional politics. Because if he spends his money, if he gets into public office, he will start stealing public money to recover the money he has spent on you. So it's part of his strength. Those who are following him today are not following him because of money. Like I said to you, I've been with him for 25 years, since 2001. And money has never defined my relationship with him. Because I know I will not get it, even if I ask for it, unless there is a reason that is very compelling. And even if he wants to spend money, he will be very, very prudent in the use of money. So this is the type of leader Nigeria needs. Somebody who can, because Nigeria is blessed with a lot of money, a lot of resources.
All right,
what is our burn is our waste of our resources. So you need somebody who can husband money. So, wait now, somebody who can husband money and use it to deliver to the needs of the people. Not somebody who is generous and in the end he will mess up everybody.
All right,
it's not a weakness. It's not a weakness. Because his attitude is being appreciated by a lot of people in Nigeria today.
The reason I'm taking this part is because
they give shishi.
The reason I'm taking this part is because the assumption that he may end up being the presidential candidate of the party, because Kwankwaso has also signed up to the fact that he should go to the south. But let's talk about, which is one of the things the political class has denied us the opportunity to be able to interrogate yet. So we hope that after 30th and as we go into the election season proper, we'll get to interrogate ideological differences. So, because sometimes you really can't say what APC and PDP and all of this party ideologically differ. Because even with the PDP, with the APC, for instance, Muhammadu Buhari, God rest his soul, in terms of his economic ideology, was more welfareist, maybe Section 16 of the Constitution. But President Bola Tinubu is more of capitalist, more of a liberal and neoliberal policy of the government. So both of them are in the same party, but one is going this way in terms of economic ideology, the other one is going this way. So it makes me feel like the party doesn't have exactly what it can hold on to, just like you have the Democrats and Republicans, you know what to expect, no matter who is in charge. What does the NDC stand for in terms of economic ideology?
Well, you will see from the engagements of Mr. Obi already, you can see that he's a welfarist ideology person. Look at the way he's going to see people in IDP camps, going to schools to donate to children, and he's showing a lot of empathy to move the people, out of their extreme poverty. That is what he's going to do with government resources. So it's not about promising everybody a good Nigeria, and you don't do impact assessment of your policies on the citizens of the country. If you look at Nigeria the way it is now, the citizens are bearing so much brunt of the policies of the present APC government. Nothing is affordable. Petrol is 1,400 naira a liter. Diesel is 2,100. And once this thing happens this way, it creates multiplier effect in inflation. And there's no money. The money is not in the hands of the ordinary people. That is why hardship is so much. Every passing month or weeks, Nigeria continues to descend into the abyss. Poverty is very palpable in this country. So somebody who has no empathy cannot be guaranteeing the welfare of the citizens, because the Constitution says the welfare of the Nigerian citizens shall be a primary purpose of government. And if people are dying and they are not doing anything to rescue them, you are failing in that duty, you know. So you must be driven with that welfare of the citizens in your policies. And if you put any policy, then you must ensure that you do impact assessment of your policies on the citizens. You are talking about macroeconomics, where Nigeria is doing very well. How is Nigeria doing very well with the crippling debts we have? You tell us that our foreign reserve is about $60 billion or 40 or 50, whatever number. And we're owing 160 trillion naira. So that has wiped away your reserve. So what is important is to bring the country back to production. We have to start reviving our industries and promoting people to go back to farm, agricultural production, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so the policy of ADC, policy of ADC, if you listen to the national leader of ADC, NDC, Siriake Dixon, you hear where he's talking about the welfare of the citizens. Welfare of the citizens. He's not capitalist in nature. And he's the founder of this party. He's somebody, I work with him in the Senate, in the 10th Senate, and I know he stands on a lot of issues. That's the reason why we settled. That's the reason why we settled on NDC. Let's come clean. At the place we landed
my apologies. As we begin to wind down, let's come clean.
Yeah. Now, how dirty are we?
Not that. We're not dirty. I just wanted clarity.
Okay.
The APC and President Tinubu will tell you that it wasn't because it's the nicest thing to have done for them to have removed subsidy because they just want to remove subsidy. It's because when they looked at the books and the numbers, subsidy may be good, but the country could not fund it. So if you are welfarist, the pain will be less on the citizen, but there will be fiscal pressure. But if you are not welfarist, just like the president is doing now, the pain would be on the citizens, and there will be less pressure on the fiscal demand of the country. So are you saying in clear terms that, for instance, if the NDC wins an election as a welfarist leaning party, if you will, you may be thinking of subsidy?
Even when I was in the...
as a party.
8th Senate. I'm coming. I'm a politician. I'm a member of NDC. So I want to tell you why this argument does not fly. Subsidy has been removed. Yes. It was a good thing to remove subsidy because of the corruption in the subsidy regime in Nigeria. People were stealing a lot of money belonging to citizens of this country. They make frivolous claims of subsidy claims, and they're stealing all the money. So it became a burden on government. So now, having removed subsidy, my question is, if you remove subsidy, it means that you have savings. The money you pay on subsidy will be available to government to channel into other areas. What has improved since then? When the subsidy was removed, the petroleum prices, product prices went up astronomically to where we are. What has happened by government to cushion this effect? Have they done anything to revive our ailing refineries? Because if you are removing subsidy without making adequate plans from where you can source these products, you have not helped the country. That is why, even not for Dangote refinery, Nigeria would have been grounded by now. You know, so if you have a plan to remove subsidy, there must be a composite plan to put refineries in place. Either you revive the old ones or you build new ones. For the past 6 years, I've been talking about building new refineries, even before Dangote started his own. I said, you cannot solve this problem that is plaguing Nigeria if you don't have a way of making this product available. If you can't produce, you cannot regulate, you cannot control prices. So you must be able to find refineries, no matter the scale of the refineries, proliferate them around the country, because we have the crude.
I think we're totally out of time.
So it's just telling us that the president was bold in removing subsidy. For what gain?
All right,
is that good for the Nigerians today? For what gain?
We will probe.
What's the level of our debts today?
We'll have time. Yes, we'll have time to talk about the manifesto and all of this.
When we cross this phase,
totally out of time.
You are the one that provoked it. You are asking me what we are going to do. What is our manifesto?
Yes, we've just started. Forgive me.
We are thinking.
Forgive me.
We are looking at what to do.
Yes, so that we can hear the other side.
Good for Nigerians.
Senator Victor Umeh, member of the NDC, representing Anambra Central in the 10th Senate. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.